Hello YouTube, this is Jay Coder back with another stream, and today we're going to be diving into RecyclerView, and this is an important concept to be able to display a list of items onto the screen in an Android application. And so if you like to learn more about Android development and like Android development in general, please subscribe to this channel. And my goal is to help you become a pro Android developer through the streams and videos that I produce. And I encourage you to like this video, and without further ado, let's get started on our topic for today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mute this music. And so we're going over this code lab directly from the developer.android site. And it's called Use RecyclerView to display a scrollable list. And so for everyone that would like to follow along, I always post a link to the code lab that we're going over. I'm going to go ahead and post this in the chat really quick. And I also post it in the comments as well. So, all right, I posted that in the chat. And all right, let's get started for today. Before you begin, if you think about the apps you commonly use on your phone, almost every single app has at least one list. The call history screen, the contacts app, and your favorite social media app all display a list of data, as shown in the screenshot below. Some of these apps display a simple list of words or phrases, where others display more complex items such as cards that include text and images. No, no matter what the content is, displaying a list of data is one of the most common UI tasks in Android. To help you build apps with lists, Android provides the Recycler View. RecyclerView is designed to be very efficient, even with large lists. By reusing or recycling the views that have scrolled off the screen when a list scrolled off the screen, Recycler View reuses the view of the next item about to be displayed. That means the item is filled with new content that scrolls onto the screen. This recycler view behavior saves a lot of processing time and helps lists scroll more smoothly. In the sequence shown below, you can see that one view has been filled with data ABC. After that view scrolls off the screen, Recycler View reuses the view for new data XYZ. In this code lab, you will build the affirmative app. Affirmation app. Affirmations is a simple app that displays 10 positive affirmations as text in a scrolling list. Then on the follow-up collab, you will take it a step further, add an inspiring image to help each affirmation, and polish the app UI. Prerequisites: create a project from a template in Android Studio, add string resources to an app, define a layout in XML, understand classes and inheritance in Kotlin, inherit from an existing class and override its methods, use the documentation on developer.android.com for classes provided by the Android framework. What you'll learn is how to use a recycler view to display a list of data, how to organize your code into packages, how to use adapters with RecyclerView to customize how an individual item looks, and what you'll build an app that displays a list of affirmation strings using a recycler view. And what you need, a computer with Android Studio version 4.1 or higher. Awesome. Okay. Creating the project. Create an empty activity project. Before creating a new project, make sure that you are on Android Studio 4.1 or higher. Start a new Kotlin project in Android Studio using the empty activity template. Enter affirmations as the app name, com.example.affirmations as the package name, and choose API level 19 as the minimum SDK. Click finish to create the project. All right, let's go ahead and do this on my end. I'm going to go ahead and go to my Android Studio. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to new project. And then after that, I'm going to go to empty template views project and then hit next. And then I'm going to name this affirmations, and then this is going to be com.sample affirmations, and then I'm going to hit finish. And then, all right, so it's going ahead and looks like there's a new SDK. It's installing right now, which is Platform 33. But, all right, and then next, setting up the list of data. The next step is creating the affirmations app is to add resources. You will add the following to your project: a string resources to display as affirmations in the app, a source of data to provide a list of affirmations of your app. In most production Android apps, you would retrieve the affirmation data from a database or from a server. Networking and databases are beyond the scope of this code lab, so you will use a list of affirmation strings defined inside the app. So add affirmation strings. In the project window, open app resources values string.xml. This file currently has a single resource, which is the name of the app. So let's see if my project here is ready. So going to Android, and then we're going to, it's loading here. And then in strings.xml, add the following affirmation as individual string resources. Name them affirmation 1, affirmation 2, and so on and so forth. So, okay. So the strings file should look like this when you're done. So they want us to add these guys as our 10 affirmations stored within our app, which normally on a production app will be on a server or a database. But for now, we are going through how it works basically with the RecyclerView. So now we go to our Android Studio. Then inside our Android Studio, we are going to go to the resources. Then inside the resources, actually, we're going to values inside the resources, and then the strings.xml, and then we have the app name, which is there. Now we're going to add these to the mix, which is our 10 affirmations that they told us to add to our strings file. And now that you have added string resources, you can reference them in your code as r.string.affirmation1 or r.string.affirmation2. Create a new package. Organizing your code logically helps you and other developers understand, maintain, and extend it. In the same way that you can organize paperwork into files, folders, you can organize your code into files and packages. What is a package? In Android Studio, in the project window, and Android, take a look at your new project files under App Java for the Affirmations app. They should look similar to the screenshot below, which shows three packages: one for your code, com.example.affirmations, and two for test files, com.example.affirmations, Android test, and com.example.affirmations test. So notice that the name of the package consists of several words separated by a period. There are two ways in which you can make use of packages. Create different packages for different parts of your code. For example, developers will often separate the classes that work with data and classes that build the UI into different packages. Use code from other packages in your code in order to use the classes from other packages. You need to define them in your build systems dependencies. It's also a standard practice to import them in your code, as you can use their shortened name, TextView, instead of their fully qualified name, Android.widget.textview. For example, you have already used import statements for classes such as sqrt, import kotlin.math.sqrt, and view, import AndroidView.view. In the Affirmations app, in addition to importing Android Kotlin and Kotlin classes, you will also organize your app into several packages. Even when you don't have a lot of classes for your app, it is good practice to use packages to group classes by functionality. Naming packages. A package name can be anything as long as it is globally unique. No other published package anywhere can have the same name because there are very large numbers of packages. Coming up with random unique names is hard. Programmers use conventions to make it easier to create and understand packages names. The package name is usually structured from general to specific, with each part of the name in lowercase letters and separated by a period. Important: the period is just part of the name. It does not indicate hierarchy in code or mandate a folder structure. Because internet domains are globally unique, it is convention to use a domain, usually yours or the domain of your business, as the first part of the name. You can choose the names of the packages to indicate what's inside the package and how packages are related to each other. For those examples like this one, com.example, followed by the name of the app is commonly used. Here are some examples of predefined package names and their contents. Kotlin, not math, mathematical functions and constants. Android.widget, views such as text view. Note, while the names of packages and their arrangement in the Android project window of Android Studio as a hierarchy of folders appears as a hierarchy, there's no actual hierarchy in the executable code, just like the numbering system of a library categorizes and organizes books. They are still on the same shelf, and you can take out any of them. Create a package in Android Studio in the project pane. Right click, app, Java, com dot, example dot, affirmations, and select new package. In the new package pop up, notice the suggested package name prefix. The suggested first part of the package name is the name of the package you right clicked. While package name does not create a hierarchy of packages, reusing parts of the name is used to indicate a relationship and organization of the content. In the pop up, append model to the end of the suggested package name. Developers often use model as the package name for classes that model or represent the data. So model is usually where the data is stored. So okay, or model. When you say model, it's usually related to data. So let's go ahead and create a new package, like they said, inside our Android Studio. And then, so they said to, so this right here, this folder with a dot, that's a package. So we right click on our package there and we say new package. And then we're going to make this the model. And then hit enter. Then we created a new package under the com.examples.affirmations. And so it's an empty package right now. So press enter. This creates a new package under this, and this package will contain any data related classes defined in your app. So any data related classes. Create the affirmation data class. In this task, you'll create a class called affirmation. An object instance of affirmation represents one affirmation and contains the resource ID of the string with the affirmation. Right click on the com.example.affirmations model package and select new Kotlin class. In the pop-up, select class under the affirmations on the same class. This creates a new file called affirmations.kt in the model package. So now they want us to do a new Kotlin class. Select class and then enter affirmation. And so make affirmation a data class by adding the data keyword before the class definition. This leaves you with an error because data classes must have at least one property defined. So data classes need a property. Let me go ahead and create that here. So new Kotlin class. And actually they have a prefix here called data class. So you can just, go directly. You can, choose data class because that's what it's going to be. And it's going to be called affirmation, which is going to be the name of it. And then enter. Alright, so it created this new data class right here. And so yeah. Now it says when you create an instance of affirmation, you need to pass in the resource ID of the affirmation string. The resource ID is an integer. Add a val integer parameter string resource ID to the constructor of the affirmation class. This gets rid of your error. So we're going to go ahead and add this thing, which is an integer, which is our string resource ID, to our actual affirmations, class. All right, and then the next thing is create a class to be a data source. Data displayed in your app come from different sources within your app project or from external source that requires connecting to the internet to download data. As a result, data may not be the exact format that you need. The rest of the app should not concern itself where the data originates from or what format it is originally. You can and should hide away the data preparation in a separate data source class that prepares the data for the app. Since preparing data is a separate concern, but the data source class in a separate package. Since preparing data is a separate concern, put the data source in a separate package. In Android Studio, in the project window, right click App Java, com.example affirmations and select new package. Enter data as the last part of the package name. Right click on the data package and select um, the new class. So they said they also would like a package called data. So inside the so affirmation. Okay, inside this, they would like a new package data, and then they said inside the data, right click on the data package, new Kotlin class, and then the Kotlin class data source. Inside the Kotlin class, create a function called load affirmations. So inside the data, we're gonna say new Kotlin class, and we're gonna say data source, and then gonna do that, and then we have the looks like we had the split on. So let's see. So I'm gonna go to here. So that is we have a class called data source, and then inside the class create a function called load affirmations. So function load affirmations, and the load affirmations function needs to return a list of affirmations. You do this by creating a list and populating it with an affirmation instance for each resource string. Declare a list of affirmations as the return type of the method load affirmations. In the body of the so that's going to be the return type in the body of the load affirmations. Add a return statement after the return keyword. Call list of like this to create a list. Inside the angle brackets, specify the type of the list items as affirmation. If necessary, import com.example.affirmations model.affirmation. Inside the parentheses, create an affirmation passing in r.string the affirmation 1 as the resource ID as shown below. And then inside the parentheses, create an affirmation passing in the source shown below. Add the remaining affirmation object to the list of all affirmations separated by commas. The finished code should look like the following. So this is the return type. So this function will return a list. So we have to put this here for our return type. So let's go back to our, and then like for the return type and column, we do colon, and then we paste that there. And we already made our affirmation data class. So we import it there. And then since we have a return type, a list of affirmations, we need to go ahead and return it because a return is required since we have a return type. And so we're going to return this thing, which this thing is pretty much making a list of our deals, our affirmations. And so let's go back to our Android Studio and then our method, and then we're going to return affirmation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we have to import what we need for R. So this is each of our affirmations. I am strong. I believe in myself. Good things are always coming into my life. I have the courage to follow my heart. I will be present in all the moments that this day brings. Okay. And so says optional, display the size of the affirmation list in a text view to verify that you can create a list of affirmations. You can call load affirmations and display the size of the return list of affirmations in the text view that comes with your empty activity app template. And layouts slash activity main.xml give the text view that comes with your template and ID or text view. And main activity in the onCreate method after the existing code, get a reference to text view. Val text view equals find view by ID r.id.text view. Then add to create and display the size of the affirmation list. Create a data source called the load affirmations. Get the size of the return list, convert it to a string, and assign it to the text of text view. So text equals data source dot load affirmations dot size dot string. Run your app. The screen should look as shown below. Delete the code you just added in main activity. So they said I can put this in main activity. And then, so our main activity is right here. And then after we do the set content, we should be able to text view dot text resolved. We import that, and then this would be actually probably r dot r. It's not r. Let's see. So, okay, so this one's is r.id.textView, r.id.textView inside this, or you could set it to a variable. Let's see. Actually, we are going to need to find it by ID to set our text view to something. So here we need this line of code. And this is going to be a type of text view. And then inside the activity main, we have this guy, which this guy probably needs an ID. So we'll give this guy an ID called text view. And so this guy should have an ID now. And so this ID should probably exist since we just created it. Text. Okay. So it's so find by ID. So let me go ahead and rebuild. So r.id.text view. And so sometimes you do have to rebuild. We're gonna say this guy is going to be equal to that. The data source, which this should be var. The data source, which we should have the data source as that. text view, sorry, it's text view dot value or text view dot text. All right, so text view dot text equals that. All right, so our text view displays 10, which we have 10 affirmations in there. And that's what they wanted us to do. Just make sure you guys have the right syntax. Run your app and then 10, and then delete the code you just added. So that was just for practice and demonstrational purposes for the display the amount. So in this task, you'll set up a RecyclerView to display the list of affirmations. There are a number of pieces involved in creating and using RecyclerView. You can think of them as a division of labor. The diagram below shows an overview, and you will learn more about each piece as you implement it. Item 1 data item of the list to display represents affirmation object in your app. Adapter takes a data and prepares it for RecyclerView to display. View holders, a pool of views of RecyclerView to use and reuse to display affirmations. RecyclerView views on a screen. Add a RecyclerView to the layout. The Affirmations app consists of a single activity named main activity, and its layout file is called activity main.xml. First, you will need to add the RecyclerView to the layout of the main activity. Open activity underscore main XML app resources layout activity underscore main. If you're not already using it, switch to split view. Delete the text view. The current layout uses constraint layout. Constraint layout is ideal and flexible when you want to position multiple child's views in a layout. Since your layout has a single child view, RecyclerView, you can switch to a simpler view group called frame layout that should be used for holding a single child view. In the XML, replace constraint layout with frame layout. The completed layout should look as shown below. So inside our main activity, we are going to replace, can go to split screen, and we are going to replace our text view and actually everything in here with our RecyclerView code. Well, I'm not. Actually, it's not RecyclerView code yet, but we changed it to a frame layout, and they recommend we use that if we're only using one child element in the view group. Then switch to design view. In the palette, select containers and find RecyclerView. Drag RecyclerView into the layout. So we switch to design view and we find RecyclerView. and then we drag RecyclerView into the layout. Okay, so switch to design view. Okay, we did that. If it appears, read the add object dependency pop-up and click OK. If the pop-up doesn't appear, no action is needed. With Android, wait for Android to finish the recycler view to appear in your layout. If necessary, change the layout width and layout height attributes of the recycle view to match parent so the recycler view can fill the whole screen. Set the ID of the recycler view to recycler view. Recycler view supports displaying items in different ways, such as a linear, list, or grid. Arranging the items is handled by a layout manager. The Android frameworks provided provides layout managers for basic item layouts. The affirmations app displays items as a vertical list, so you can use the linear layout manager. 12. Switch back to the code view. That XML code inside the recycler element, recycler view element, add linear layout manager as the layout manager attributes of the recycler view as shown below. So the app layout is going to be that is the linear. So we need this guy. And since we added our recycler view, we should see the recycler view code now, which this was the recycler view code. And it wanted us to add the linear layout to the to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this, and then to be able to scroll through a vertical list of items that is longer than the screen, you need to add a vertical scroll bar. Inside RecyclerView, add an Android scroll bar attribute set to vertical. So we're gonna add this also because we want it to be able to scroll. And we're adding the scroll bar here. Okay. And then the final XML layout should look like the following. So this is the XML layout that looks like the following. Alright, so alright. And they gave the recycler view an ID as well, it looks like. So let's also go ahead and give it an ID. Because I guess it's not really wanting to give us an ID by default in this version of Android Studio. It's looking like Android Studio. And so we're going to go ahead and add our ID. Okay, perfect. Oop. All right, let's go back to our lesson. Oh, sorry. Our lesson. Firefox. And then run your app. The project should compile and run without any issues. However, only a white screen is displayed in your app because you are missing a crucial piece of code. Right now, you have the source of data and the recycler view added to your layout, but the recycler view has no information on how to display the affirmations objects. So basically what we're going to be needing is a adapter and a view holder, which is necessary and mandatory parts of a recycler view. Okay, so we are playing. So do we... Failure occurred. Let's go ahead. Oh, yeah, I need to delete the code here as well because we no longer have that anymore. That we need, and then we can play it. Okay. So failed to parse file activity.main.xml. Activity.main.xml. We have this as a duplicate. Then let us play that. Okay. So there's little something there. Frame layout. Failure called while executing. So something's a little bit off, but I can just go ahead and just make sure I have this. Then, and then make sure I have this correctly. And then make sure we can run it. Okay. What file was I just in? Wait. Debug. Let me see if that works. Okay, everything is working as of expected. Of course, we have a blank screen, but they said that's what we would have. So, implement an adapter for the recycle view. Your app needs a way to take the data from data source and format it so that each affirmation can be displayed as an item in the recycler view. Adapter is a design pattern that adapts the data into something that can be used by a recycler view in this case. You need an adapter that takes an affirmation instance from the list returned by load affirmations and turns it into a list view so that it can be displayed in the recycler view. When you run the app, RecyclerView uses the adapter to figure out how to display your data on screen. RecyclerView asks the adapter to create a new list item view for the first data item in your list. Once it has the view, it asks the adapter to provide the data to draw them. This process repeats until the recycle view doesn't need any more views to fill the screen. If only three list item views fit on the screen at once, the recycler view only asks the adapter to prepare those three list item views instead of all 10 list item views. In this step, you'll build an adapter which will adapt an affirmation object instance so that it can be displayed in the recycler view. Create the adapter. So create the we're gonna create the adapter, and an adapter has multiple parts. You'll be writing quite a bit of code that's more complex than what you've done in this course so far. It's okay if you don't fully understand the details at first. Once you have completed this whole app with a recycler view, you'll be able to better understand how all the parts fit together. You'll also be able to reuse the code as a base for future apps that you create with a recycle view. Great recycler view. Create a layout for items. Each item in the recycler view has its own layout, which you define in a separate layout file. Since you are only going to display a string, you can use the text for your item layout. In res layout, create a new empty file called list underscore item dot xml. Open list underscore item. So we're going to make a new file under layout called list underscore item. So let's go ahead and do that, because each in the set recycler view there are items, and we need to specify how the item is going to be designed visually. So that's why we add a new layout resource file, and that's going to be a list item. Then we're going to hit OK. Okay. Add wrap content for the layout width and height as shown in the code below. Notice that you don't need a view group around your layout because this list item layout will later be inflated and added as a child to the parent recycler view. So this code should be the code that we should have inside our in here, let's go to our code. We can say, instead of maybe this, we can say that. So we are going to have a text view inside there. Well, this is pretty much consists of a text view. With the wrap content width and height. Alternatively, you should have used file, new, layout resource file, and then file name, list, underscore item, and text view as a root element. Then update the generated code to match the code above. Create an adapter, item adapter class. So we're going to create an item adapter class. And so we're going to, in Android Studio, in the project pane, right click app java.com.example.affirmations and select new package. And then enter adapter inside the Android Studio. In the project pane, we're going to add a new package called adapter. So where we have the data and the model package, we're going to add a new package and we're going to call it adapter. So package adapter. All right. So enter adapter as the last part of the package name. Right click on the adapter package and then call make a Kotlin class called item adapter. And so we're going to make a Kotlin class called item adapter. So item adapter. Oh, oops. New Kotlin class item adapter. Okay. Item adapter so that you can pass the affirmations. And so it says add a parameter to the item adapter constructor that is val called dataset of type list affirmation. Import affirmation if necessary. Since the dataset will be only used within the class, make it private. So basically, inside our parameters constructor, we add private val dataset is going to be a list of affirmation. So let's go ahead and add that to our new class here, which we need to add the parentheses for the constructor. affirmations, import. All right. We have that. Now, says now after we have created that, we're going to create a view holder. RecyclerView doesn't interact directly with item views, but deals with view holders instead. A view holder represents a single list item view in RecyclerView and can be reused when possible. A view holder instance holds references to the individual views within a list item layout, hence the name view holder. This makes it easier to update the list item view with new data. View holders also add information that RecyclerView uses to efficiently move views around the screen. Inside item adapter class, before the closing curly brace for item adapter, create an item view holder class. So within our item adapter, we're going to declare a item view holder class. Defining a class inside another class is called creating a nested class. Since item view holder is only used by item adapter, creating it inside item adapter shows the relationship. This is not mandatory, but it helps other developers understand the structure of your program. Add a private valve view of type view as a parameter to the item view holder class constructor. Make item view holder a subclass of RecyclerView.ViewHolder, and pass the view parameter into the RecyclerView constructor. Inside item view holder, define a val property text view that is of type text view. Assign it to the view with the ID item title that you defined in list item.xml. So inside the view holder, we're going to add a parameter of a private val view. So inside our view item view holder. Oh, okay. Actually, we're going to add the perimeter. They wanted us to add this here. And so after that, and inside our Firefox, this is going to be the return type. Or actually, that's not the return type. This is the subclass. In the function, this means what comes after is going to be the return type. But in this case, we're working with a class. So in this case, this means inheritance. This means inheritance. So it's going to be this is going to be so item. So this class is going to be a child of this class. So it's going to inherit from RecyclerView.ViewHolder. And then inside the class, we're going to have a variable that gets the title or the item title from the item, so that we can set that text view equal to, we're going to set that equal to the affirmation. Now, says override adapter method. Add the code to extend your item adapter from the abstract class RecyclerView.adapter. Specify item adapter dot item view holder as the view holder type and angle brackets. So this guy is now going to also, well, it's going to be, it's going to extend from RecyclerView.adapter, which that's that is the parent, and the item adapter is going to be the child class of RecyclerView.adapter. So let's go back. So this guy is now going to inherit from there. We don't need two colons. So the proper syntax. Do we have the proper syntax? Okay, and we're going to also pass some stuff into the constructor of the class as well. So we already passed the data set. They also want the context. So class item adapter, and then with two things pass in the constructor, which is the context and the list of affirmations, and it's going to inherit from the RecyclerView.adapter, and then item, this probably item adapter dot item view holder. Alrighty, and so let's just say okay. You'll see an error. You need to implement some abstract methods from RecyclerView.adapter. Put your cursor on the item adapter and press Command plus I or Control plus I on Windows. This shows you the list of methods you need to implement get item counter, on create view holder, on bind view holder. So Okay, so I hover my mouse over this, and they said Command I, or they said Command I. Well, I could just click on there and just say okay. All right, and here are the three methods that need to be implemented. Select all three functions and then click OK. Basically, this creates stubs with the correct parameters for the three methods as shown below. You should see no more errors. Next, you need to implement these methods so that they do the correct things for your app. Implement the get item count. The get item count method needs to return a size of your data set. Your app's data is the data set property that you are passing into the item adapter constructor, and you can get its size with size. So replace get item count with this. So replace get item count with this, which is a short. Oop, what? Okay. So it wants us to use that. And this is a shorthand of the method returning this. It's a more concise way of writing this. Implement on create view holder. The onCreate view holder method is called by the layout manager to create new view holders for the recycler view. When there is no existing view holders that can be reused, remember that a view holder represents a single list item view. The onCreate view holder method takes two parameters and returns a new view holder. A parent parameter, which is the view holder that the new list item view will be attached to as a child. The parent is the recycler view. A view type parameter, which becomes important when there are multiple item view types in the same recycler view. If you have different list item layouts displayed within the recycler view, there are different item view types. You can only recycle views with the same item view type. In your case, there is only one list item layout and one item view type, so you don't have to worry about this parameter. In the onCreate view holder method, obtain an instance of layout inflator from the provided context of the parent. The layout inflator shows how to inflate an XML layout into a hierarchy of view objects. So we have the val adapter layout, and once you have a layout inflator object instance, add a period followed by another method call to inflate the actual list item view. Pass in the XML layout resource ID r.layout.list underscore item and the parent view group. The third Boolean argument is attached to root. The argument needs to be false because RecyclerView adds the item to the view hierarchy for you when it's time. So val adapter layout equals layout inflator dot from this. Okay. Now Adapter layout holds reference to the list item view from which it can later find child views like the text view. And on create view holder, return new item view holder instance where the root view is adapter layout. So here is the code for the on view holder so far. So, okay. So on our on create view holder, we want it to look something like this. And then we're gonna go here. So on create view holder. So on create view holder, it's gonna look like that. And so basically we're doing this code to set a variable to inflate the list item. And so the list item is inflated, and then we return the item view holder adapter layout. So we return it there, the adapter layout. So, all right, and so that's after the on create view holder. Then we import that. Okay, and that's what we have so far for that. And it says implement onBind view holder. The last method you need to override is onBind view holder. This method is called by the layout manager in order to replace the contents of a list item view. The onBind view holder method has two parameters: an item view holder previously created by onCreateViewHolder method, and an int that represents the current position in the list. In the method, you will find the right affirmation object from the data set based on position. 1. Inside on bind view holder, create a val item and get the item at the given position in the data set. Val item equals data set position. Finally, you need to update all the views referenced by the view holder to reflect the correct data for this item. In this case, there's only one view, the text view within item view holder. Set the text of the text view to display the affirmation string for this item. With an affirmation object instance, you can find the corresponding string resource ID by calling item.string resource ID. However, this is an integer and you need to find the mapping to the actual string value. In the Android framework, you can call getString with a string resource ID and it will return the string value associated with it. GetString is a method in the resources class, and you can get an instance of the resources class through the context. That means you can call context.resources.getString and pass in a string resource ID. The resulting string can be set as the text of the text view and the holder item view holder. In short, this line of code updates the view holder to show the affirmation string holder.textView.text equals context.resources.getString.item.string resource ID. The completed on bind view holder method should look like this. So this is the completed bind view holder. So we have the item equal to a data set at the position holder.textView.text. We're setting the text view to the actual affirmation in that position. So, okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, let's go to our Android Studio. And then inside our Android Studio, we're going to, oh, inside our Android Studio, we're going to go ahead and paste that there. And here's the finished adapter code, adapter.kt. And so we should have that completely finished there. Now that you've implemented the item adapter, you need to tell the recycler view to use this adapter. Modify the main activity to use a recycler view. To finish, you need to use your data source and the item adapter classes to create and display items in the recycler view. You do this in main activity. Open main activity.kt and main activity, go to the onCreate method, insert the new code described in the following steps after the call to set content viewed r.layout.activity underscore main. Create an instance of data source and call the load affirmations method on it. Store the return list of affirmations in a file named my data set. Then my data set equals data source dot load affirmations. Create a variable called RecyclerView and use find view by ID to find a reference to the recycler view within the layout. Val recycler view equals find view by ID, and then so we have that. And to tell the recycler view to use the item adapter class you created, create a new item adapter instance item adapter. Expects two parameters: the context this of this activity and the affirmations in my dataset. Assign the item adapter object to the adapter property of the recycler view. Recycler view dot adapter equals the item adapter this my data set. And since the layout size of your recycler view is fixed in the activity layout, you can set the set has fixed size parameter of the recycler view to true. This setting is only needed to improve performance. Use the setting if you know that changes in content do not change the layout size of the recycler view. So we use this line: set has fixed size, true. When you are done, the code from main activity should be similar to the following. So after we set the context, we're going to set up our recycler view. And so let's go ahead and do that inside our main activity Kotlin code, and then inside our main activity main activity Kotlin code, we're going to go ahead and put this code here, and this is going to be our recycler view setup code. So we set these things up here so that our recycler view can display. And then says run your app. You should see a list of affirmation strings displayed on screen. And let's see if that happens here with the setup I have here. Let's go ahead and play the code or play the application. All right, perfect. So we see the affirmations, the list of affirmations here. So I am strong. I believe in myself. Each day is a new opportunity to grow and be a better version of myself. Every challenge in my life is an opportunity to learn from, and so on and so forth. So we successfully displayed our list of items here in the recycle view, and it has the built-in scrolling as well. So that's great. And now it says, congratulations, you've just created an app that displays a list of data with RecyclerView and a custom adapter. Take some time to look over the code you created and understand how the different pieces work together. This app has all the required pieces to display your affirmations, but it's not quite ready for production. The UI could use some improvement. In the next code lab, you'll improve your code, learn how to add images to the app, and polish the UI. All right. And so this is going to be in the section 5 inside this particular code lab. Number 5 is going to be the solution code. So you're going to have the strings.xml, and then you're going to have the data source.kt and the affirmations.kt and the main activity.kt and the item adapter.kt and the activity main.xml and the list item.xml. And so that's if you have not built this yet, but you can follow along to be able to build this. If you came to the spot and have not built it yet, or you can go ahead and copy this code and study it so that you can review that what we went over today, which is basically setting up a recycler view. Well, now, recycler views might not be the most modern way to do things because at this point in time there's compose. However, a lot of code bases do still use recycler views, and employers or clients may continue to want you to use recycler views in apps. So this is a very core and important part of Android development. And so, in summary, RecyclerView widget helps you display a list of data. RecyclerView uses the adapter pattern to adapt and display data. ViewHolder creates and holds the views for RecyclerView. RecyclerView comes with built-in layout managers. RecyclerView delegates how items are laid out to layout managers. To implement the adapter, create a new class for the adapter. For example, item adapter. Create a custom view holder class that represents a single list item view. Extend from recycler view holder class. Modify item adapter class to extend from the recycler view adapter class with the custom view holder class. Implement these methods within the adapter get items count on create view holder and on bind view holder. All right, and we have the learn more, and I encourage you all to uh, do extra study and to take a look at this on your own time. Create a list with recycler view class, recyclerview.adapter, recyclerview.viewholder, recyclerview library, list in material design, and enhance your UI with material card, view, and images. And all right, perfect. So that's all we have for today for that lab, and I hope you guys learned something. Recycler views are important, and all right, I encourage you to comment on this video with any questions you may have, and subscribe to this channel. And as always, guys, stay coding, and until next